What if the most dangerous thing you ever do is tell the truth to the wrong person? There are secrets that guard your life and others that put a target on your back. Not because you were malicious, not because you were naive, but because you spoke too soon, trusted too easily, or underestimated the cost of being open in a world that feeds on exposure. You see, the most lethal information out there isn't always what people hide from you. It's what you reveal carelessly, casually, without realizing you just opened the door to danger. History is full of lives ruined by a single sentence said in comfort. A moment of oversharing that felt safe until it wasn't. Today, the battlefield isn't just in the streets, it's in the comments, the captions, the late-night messages. Online or offline, the world is watching, constantly. And most people don't even know they've been marked until it's too late. In this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 secrets you should never share, not if you care about your safety, your freedom, or your future. These aren't your typical warnings. They're subtle, easily overlooked, and dangerously underestimated. But once you see them, you can't unsee them. So don't scroll away. Don't skip ahead. Because the one moment you ignore might be the one you needed most. And if protecting yourself and your loved ones matters to you, smash that subscribe button. Stay aware, stay dangerous, stay silent. Let's begin. Secret number 1. Never share your personal financial information. Remember the last time you saw someone holding new house keys, standing proudly at their front door, beaming beneath a "finally a homeowner" caption? It looks innocent, just another life win to celebrate. But that one post said so much more than it seemed. It told the world where they lived, that they had something new, something valuable, that maybe, just maybe, they weren't fully protected. Yet, one of my close friends, Rachel, was over the moon when she bought her first home. Early 30s, single, self-made, driven. She deserved to feel proud. She posted the usual shot, skis in hand, welcome mat, a cozy front porch. Nothing flashy, but the street number was barely visible in one photo. Within 2 months, her house was nearly broken into twice. Once when she was out of town, another while she was at work. She didn't live in a high-crime neighborhood. She didn't flaunt wealth. But she had unknowingly signaled, "I have something you might want. And maybe I'm alone." That's the hidden danger of sharing financial milestones. It's not just about what you post, it's about what it implies. A shiny new car, a casual mention of your raise or bonus, even a harmless "I'm finally debt-free" during a coffee chat. These aren't just updates, they're breadcrumbs, and the wrong kind of person knows exactly how to follow them. We think we're just sharing joy, but more often than not, we're broadcasting opportunity, not to friends, but to opportunists. Unsettling truth: someone is always watching. Not everyone, not all the time, but enough to matter. And it's not just hackers, scammers, or stalkers. We ended the last part talking about how oversharing your financial wins, even with good intentions, can quietly mark you as a target. But it doesn't stop there. Sometimes the real threat isn't a stranger in a dark alley, it's this smiling face at your office, the friend of a friend at a dinner party, or the person who noticed your new watch and started connecting. dots you didn't even realize you dropped. We picture danger as something obvious, dramatic, but in reality, it's often subtle. It smiles, it nods, it remembers the little things you didn't think twice about saying, the car you drive, the shoes you wear, the restaurant you frequent. All these tiny clues begin to paint a picture of you and your perceived worth. And here's a truth that might catch you off guard. Criminals rarely go after the ultra-wealthy. Why would they? The billionaires have alarm systems, cameras, legal teams, private security. They're too much trouble. But you're reachable. You're visible. You've got just enough to make the risk worth it. That's why posting vacation pictures while you're still on vacation is dangerous. Why talking about your promotion, your new gadget, or your expensive home upgrade isn't always harmless. Every post, every casual boast is a breadcrumb, and someone out there is always ready to follow the trail. The trap here is deeply psychological. We want to believe the world is cheering for us, and sure, some people are, but not everyone. In the shadow of every congrats is someone who doesn't feel admiration, but resentment. Not inspiration, but envy. They don't want to celebrate you, they want what you have, and they're not above taking it. That's where Stoic philosophy steps in, not as some outdated code, but as a powerful form of modern self-defense. The Stoics didn't keep quiet because they weren't proud. They kept quiet because they understood that pride doesn't need applause. That peace is found through discipline, through mastery of one's thoughts, one's impulses, and one's voice. When you practice Stoic thinking, you start questioning your own instincts. Why do I want to post this? Is it for connection? Or is it for validation? Am I sharing from joy or from ego? This kind of self-inquiry sharpens you. It teaches you to treat privacy like armor, not because you're hiding something, but because you're protecting something. Yourself. So, what's the solution? It's simple but far from easy. Start being intentional, thoughtful, strategic. When someone asks how much you make, smile and say, "I'm comfortable." Then change the subject. When you land a big win at work, celebrate, yes, but do it in private, with people who've earned your trust. Bought something big, a house, a car, a luxury item. Take a breath. Wait before sharing, if you share at all. You don't owe the world a play-by-play of your success. The fewer people who know your financial situation, the safer you are, not just from criminals, but from envy, manipulation, and sometimes even the law. Treat your financial details the same way you'd treat your bank PIN. Private, secure, shared only when absolutely necessary, and even then, with caution. Because in today's world, your survival often depends on one thing: what you choose to reveal and what you choose to protect. Oversharing might feel innocent in the moment, but once it's out there, it's out of your hands. You can't control how it's used or who's watching. Privacy is power, silence is safety, and discretion, that's your shield. Use it. Secret number 2. Never reveal your real-time location or travel plans. Have you ever had that sudden, skin-prickling fear, the realization that someone knows exactly where you are, and they absolutely shouldn't? That chill down your spine? That's instinct trying to save your lives earlier. We talked about how protecting your financial details can shield you from manipulation and theft. But there's something even more immediate and far more dangerous that most people give away. Without a second thought, their location. We tag coffee shops. We check into airports. We drop pins at restaurants in real time. To us, it feels harmless, just sharing little moments. But what we're actually doing is giving away our most valuable asset, our whereabouts. And in the wrong hands, that information isn't just data. It's a weapon. Let me tell you about Maya. She was someone I knew a few years back, vibrant, newly engaged. Loved documenting every bit of her life on Instagram. One weekend, her fiancé surprised her with a romantic trip to Lake Tahoe. Naturally, she posted it all. The road trip, the cozy cabin, the snowy views. On day 2, she uploaded a picture of them snowshoeing, smiling under the caption, "No cell signal, no problems." But there was a problem. A big one. Someone from Maya's past, a man she had distanced herself from after a deeply uncomfortable encounter, had been quietly watching her feed. He saw the trip unfolding in real time. He knew where she was, but more importantly, he knew where she wasn't. While Maya was wrapped in snow and joy, laughing in the mountains, her apartment back in Sacramento was broken into. And it wasn't random. There were no broken locks, no smashed windows, no obvious signs of forced entry. But the intruder had been through everything. Her drawers, her closet, her personal space. And what made it worse, he didn't seem interested in stealing valuables. It wasn't about things. It was about access, intimacy, control. Things Maya never gave him, but he took anyway. That's what made it chilling. And that's what most people still don't understand. Not every threat is about money. Some are about power, about obsession, about revenge. When you post your location, when you show where you are, and by extension, where you're not, you're offering a blueprint to anyone who wants to use it. This isn't paranoia, it's pattern recognition. We've normalized broadcasting our every move, assuming only friends are paying attention. But the truth is, anyone can be watching. Social media doesn't verify who follows you. That random guy you met once at a conference. The woman from your old job 5 years ago. That anonymous account that just liked your last 10 posts. Any of them could be watching. And statistically, a lot of them are. Studies show that over 78% of modern burglars use social media to select their targets. They don't have to guess. If you're home, you told them, you showed them. And it's not just about vacations or weekend getaways. The danger goes deeper when you casually reveal your daily routines. That morning run you take every day at 6 a.m., that yoga class every Wednesday night, those quiet walks you love when the city's asleep. What do these habits create? A predictable pattern. And if someone wants to find you, they don't need to ask. They just need to watch. Now let's talk psychology. Why do we feel this urge to post where we are while we're still there? Most of it comes down to one word: validation. We want to be seen, noticed. We want to feel connected, to show the world we're living a full life. But that craving to be seen can come at a dangerous cost. Stoic philosophy teaches us something radical in today's world. Value what you can control and release what you cannot. Your safety is within your control, but only if you stop handing it over to strangers disguised as followers. The Stoics didn't live loudly, not because they had nothing to say, but because they didn't need an audience to feel whole. They found joy in the moment itself, not in the applause that followed. That's the mindset we need now more than ever. To live stoically is to know this truth. Not everything meaningful has to be shared the moment it happens. You delay gratification. You protect your peace. You understand that your safety, your privacy, and your power, they're worth far more than a fleeting like or a string of heart emojis. When you begin to think stoically, you start asking the hard but necessary questions. What do I really gain from posting this right now? Who exactly am I trusting with this information? And what's the potential cost if the wrong person sees it? This kind of self-inquiry becomes your greatest defense. Stronger than any security system, smarter than any lock. Because it makes you harder to track, less predictable, less exposed, and infinitely more difficult to manipulate. So what can you actually do? Start with something simple, but powerful. Shift your timing. Post your vacation photos after you've returned. Share that great restaurant only after you've left. Talk about your routines only with people you know deeply and trust completely. And please stop tagging your location in real time. Most importantly, let go of the myth that caution equals fear. It doesn't. It means you're awake. You're aware. You're seeing the world not through rose-colored glasses, but as it actually is, not as you wish it were. We live in an era where even joy, yes, joy can become a vulnerability if you share it carelessly. A moment of happiness can be twisted into an opportunity by the wrong person. But when you protect your location, when you guard your movements, you take your power back. You shift from being an open book to a locked journal, from being a public itinerary to a private journey. Because here's the truth. The most dangerous people out there, they're not trying to break in. They're just waiting for you to open the door. And when your location is public, you've already left the door wide open. In this hyper-connected world, privacy is your fortress. And the strongest fortresses, they're not built out of fear. They're built out of intention. So be quiet, be careful, be stoic. And if any of this resonates with you, if you found these insights valuable, drop a comment that simply says yes below. Your thoughts matter, and I'm listening. Secret number 3. Never share details about your home security system. Because these days, the walls have ears and they don't belong to the people you trust. In a world where everything is connected and attention is currency, even the most innocent-sounding details can quietly become cracks in your armor. And one of the most overlooked and most dangerous things people casually mention, their security system, or worse, the lack of one. It usually starts with a sense of pride. A responsible upgrade. Someone just installed motion sensors, smart locks, or a fancy new surveillance system. And what do? They post about it. Maybe a selfie in front of the keypad. Maybe a caption like, "Finally got the house secured." Seems responsible, right? But here's the danger. They've just handed a blueprint of their home defense. To anyone paying attention, they've turned their strongest layer of protection into a public challenger puzzle for anyone with bad intentions to solve. Because now, someone knows what kind of system you have, and more importantly, how valuable your home must be to require that much protection. But let's flip the script. Some people go the opposite way. They laugh it off, say things like, "There's nothing to steal here," at a party, or joke in a neighborhood group chat, "We've never needed an alarm." It sounds humble, low-key, unassuming. But guess what it actually communicates? I'm an easy target. And criminals? They're not looking for a challenge. They're looking for an opening. Just like water, they follow the path of least resistance. So when you casually reveal that you don't have an alarm, no dog, no neighbor checking in, you're not sharing a fun anecdote. You're broadcasting an invitation. We ended the last part with a warning. Revealing what you don't have can be just as dangerous as revealing what you do. But let's take that a step further, because sometimes the threat doesn't come from what you lack. It comes from the details you proudly share. Let me tell you about Greg. We went to college together. A few years ago, Greg and his wife moved into a new home with their young daughter. Being a tech enthusiast, he went all in on security, installing a state-of-the-art safe for some cash and a few cherished family heirlooms. One of those? A vintage wristwatch passed down from his grandfather. It meant the world to him. Naturally, Greg was proud, and during a casual chat in a home renovation Facebook group, he shared a bit too much. He talked about the brand of the safe, the biometric lock, and even joked about where he kept it, tucked in the closet behind my suits, like a Bond movie. He laughed. It wasn't a brag. It was excitement. But a few weeks later, while Greg's family was out of town, someone broke into their house. Nothing else was touched. Not the flat-screen TV, not the laptops, not the expensive speakers. Just the safe, gone. It doesn't take a criminal mastermind to figure out what happened. Just someone observant enough to watch, listen, and act. That's the piece most people miss. Not all criminals are impulsive. Some are strategic. They're patient. They gather information the same way a hunter studies its prey, not with force, but with precision. And more often than not, we're the ones handing them the map. Greg's mistake wasn't buying a safe. It was talking about it in a space where strangers were listening. And we all do this more often than we realize. We give house tours on Instagram. We show off our renovated kitchens and mention, in passing, how the bedrooms are way in the back, far from the street. We laugh with co-workers about how grandma's jewelry is kept in the nightstand. We casually mention that the gun is tucked under the bed. It feels harmless, relatable, like we're connecting. But what we're really doing is giving someone a playbook, a map to our most vulnerable spaces. Psychologically, it all stems from a very human need, the desire to be acknowledged, to feel like we're doing something right, like we're prepared. But here's the truth. Real safety isn't about performance. It's about privacy. Stoic philosophy reminds us of this again and again. Epictetus once said, "Be silent for the most part, or, if you speak, Say only what is necessary, and in few words. That isn't just advice for conversation. It's a principle of control, of restraint, of knowing when to stay quiet and why. To live stoically is to stop measuring success by applause, envy, or even curiosity. You stop seeing external validation as evidence that you're doing life right. You start seeing privacy as power. Because, let's be clear, sharing details about your security, your weapons, or your valuables doesn't make you smart. It makes you vulnerable. The Stoics believed true strength was quiet. That power doesn't come from what others see, it comes from what they can't see. A fortress is powerful not because everyone knows its defenses, but because no one can figure them out. So what should you do? Keep it vague. If someone asks about your home security, "I'm covered" is all you need to say. If they ask about valuables, change the subject. If you're discussing renovations or layout, focus on the results, not the floor plan. Learn to separate what feels good to share from what's smart to keep to yourself. Because once the wrong person knows what you have, how you protect it, and exactly where it's kept, you've lost the upper hand. And in today's world, where information travels faster than consequences, that loss can be devastating. Your home should be your sanctuary, not a stage, not a showroom, but a fortress, silent, strong, and sacred. Keep your defenses quiet. Keep your possessions sacred. Speak less than you feel tempted to. And guard your privacy like it's the lock on your front door, because in many ways, it is. Secret number 4. Don't share personal or family weaknesses. When we talk about personal safety, most people think in physical terms: locks, alarms, being street smart, maybe carrying pepper spray, or learning a martial art. But there's another kind of danger, far more subtle, far more personal. And it starts the moment you begin sharing your vulnerabilities with the wrong people. This threat doesn't barge in with a weapon. It doesn't kick down your door. It walks in politely disguised as empathy, curiosity, even friendship. And by the time you realize what you've given away, the damage is already done. Because this isn't just a hypothetical risk. It happens every day in quiet ways, invisible ones, and the consequences are painfully real. I once heard about Jordan. He was a gentle, soft-spoken man in his mid-50s who had just finished chemotherapy, hoping to offer encouragement and maybe build some support. He shared his story in a local community group. People praised his bravery, commented on his strength, applauded his openness. But not everyone in that group was there to be inspired. Some were watching, calculating. They didn't see courage. They saw opportunity. Jordan lived alone. He was tired most days, and one night, while he was heavily medicated and asleep, someone broke into his home. They didn't need to wake him. They didn't even need to rush, because they already knew he wouldn't be a threat. That's the brutal reality. When you share deeply personal details about your health, your trauma, your emotional wounds, your fears, you're not just expressing vulnerability. You're handing over a blueprint to anyone who wants to use it against you. And here's what's hardest to admit. Not everyone who listens wants to help. Now, let's be clear. The urge to open up is deeply human. We want connection. We want to feel seen, heard, understood. And yes, vulnerability can be beautiful, even powerful. But only when it's shared with the right people in the right space. Unfortunately, we live in an era where oversharing has been normalized, where deeply personal confessions are posted as TikToks, where Facebook comments become open journals, where casual conversations at parties slip into emotional exposure. But these public spaces were never built to carry the weight of your truths. And when that truth falls into the wrong hands, it doesn't just inform, it invites exploitation. Think about it like this. Manipulators and predators don't always appear malicious. At first glance, they may seem harmless, but they're always watching for one thing: leverage. A person who knows you fear confrontation, they'll test your boundaries quietly, consistently. A person who hears you live alone and have trouble moving around, they see a path of least resistance. A person who learns about your abusive ex, your phobias, your guilt. Now they have tools. Tools to custom build their manipulation designed to fit you like a glove. And that's what makes it so dangerous. It's not general harm. It's tailored destruction. Even when we think we're protecting others, we can unknowingly put them in harm's way by speaking too freely, mentioning your elderly parent who lives alone, talking about your child's after-school routine, saying your sibling with a disability is home during the day. These aren't just casual family details. They are maps of vulnerability. And when those maps fall into the wrong hands, you may have just handed someone the coordinates. The Stoics had a very intentional approach to personal disclosure. They weren't cold. They weren't disconnected. They were deliberate. As Crackbus once said, the wise man will speak correctly and with restraint. He will confess not to everyone, but only to those who are suited to hear it. That last part, only to those who are suited to hear it, is where real strength lies. Stoic philosophy doesn't tell us to live in fear. It teaches us to live with awareness, to be measured in what we share, not because we're ashamed, but because we understand the weight of what we carry. Some truths aren't meant to be thrown into the public arena. They're meant to be processed internally, or with trusted counsel, not on a comment thread, not in front of strangers. To live stoically is not to stay silent, it's to know when to speak, and to whom. It's knowing that protecting your inner life doesn't mean you're hiding. It means you're wise enough to recognize that vulnerability, in the wrong hands, becomes a weapon. So if you've lived through trauma, if you're battling health challenges, if you're grieving, healing, or just trying to find your footing, again, choose carefully. Use private channels. Seek out professional help. Lean on people who've earned your trust, not the ones who simply seem nice. And in public, keep it general. You owe no one your pain. You don't have to explain your struggles to people who haven't proven they're safe. And if that familiar urge rises to open up, to share, pause and ask yourself, why? Is it because you want to connect? Or is it because you want to be seen? Sometimes, what we're really craving is someone to say, I get it. But that moment of validation is not worth handing over the keys to your personal security. You can heal without performing. You can connect without exposing. You can be powerful without being on display. Ask yourself honestly, have you ever shared something personal, only to regret it later? Has someone ever taken your openness and used it against you? If yes, drop a comment below. Your story might just be the wake-up call someone else needs to protect themselves. Because in the end, your safety isn't just about what you can fight off. It's about what you never allow in. Sometimes, your greatest armor isn't your strength. It's your silence. Secret number 5. Never share information that can be used for identity theft. When was the last time you actually stopped to think about what you casually reveal online? Not the obvious stuff like your password, your credit card number, or your social security. I'm talking about the small things. The throwback photo of you with your childhood dog. That offhand comment about your mother's maiden name while chatting about ancestry. The light-hearted story about the street you grew up on. Seems innocent, right? Even charming? But in the hands of the wrong person, those tiny pieces become clues, fragments of a puzzle. And if someone gathers enough of them, they no longer see a cute post. They see a profile, a roadmap to your identity, your access points, your digital life. And here's the scary part. Most of that data, you gave it away freely, not because you were reckless, but because we've been conditioned to believe that sharing equals connection, that openness equals authenticity. But here's the hard truth. It doesn't. Not always. Not in today's world. Take the case of Melissa. She was a bright, upbeat young teacher, tech-savvy, active on social media, and loved those about me quizzes on Instagram stories. You know the ones. Favorite band? Pearl Jam. First pet's name? Lucky. Hometown? Dayton, Ohio. She even did a sweet nostalgia post about her first Cara silver Toyota Corolla, and later shared a throwback graduation photo clearly labeled with the name of her high school. At first glance, it all seemed harmless, just light-hearted memories, right? But what Melissa didn't realize was that she had just handed over the answers to nearly every standard security question used to protect her email, bank account, and shopping apps to the entire internet. It didn't take long. Her inbox lit up with alerts, password reset attempts, unusual login activity, bank card flagged, account locked. Melissa was locked out of multiple platforms. And it took weeks plus a cybersecurity expert to begin unraveling the mess. But what hit her hardest wasn't just the inconvenience, it was the betrayal. Because she hadn't been tricked by some criminal genius in a dark basement. She had unknowingly handed her digital identity over to the world. One cheerful, nostalgic post at a time. This is the real face of modern identity theft. It's not some hooded hacker frantically typing in a dark room. It's someone casually scrolling, collecting pieces, connecting dots. They're not breaking in. You left the door wide open, and they just walked through. The most chilling part? It's how all those innocent little details, when combined, become far more dangerous. Your birth month from a Facebook comment. Your high school mascot from an old yearbook photo. A tweet joking about being class of 2007. A tagged photo of your brother with your shared last name. None of these things, on their own, scream danger. But together, they reveal your age, your family network, your birthplace, your security questions, and sometimes even the partial framework of your social security number. That's all a scammer needs to impersonate you, phish you, or breach your most sensitive accounts. And once they figure out where you bank, what apps you use to shop or transfer money, they don't have to guess. They'll mirror those platforms, create perfect-looking emails, and bait you with a click. You won't even know what hit you because it looks just like every other routine notification. This is where Stoic philosophy becomes more than helpful. It becomes essential. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." That level of clarity, it applies to the digital world too. Stoicism is about self-discipline, about knowing what you can control and letting go of the rest. And here's the thing. You can control what you post. You can choose silence over impulse. You can pause before sharing and ask, who truly benefits from this information? Could this be exploited? Would I still post this if I imagined it in the hands of a stranger with malicious intent? To live stoically today means treating your personal data like your physical body, with respect, with boundaries, with an understanding that exposure has consequences. It means realizing you don't owe the internet your full story. You don't need to lay yourself bare to feel real. You don't have to give away the blueprint to your identity just to feel seen. The solution isn't paranoia. It's precision. Use false, unique answers for security questions. Answers only you know. Don't post about the platforms you use for banking, investing, or shopping. Audit your old social media posts. Delete what no longer needs to live online. Tighten your privacy settings. Make it difficult for anyone to piece together your digital self. You wouldn't hand a stranger the keys to your home. So why hand them the keys to your digital identity? Every time you post, tag, comment, or joke online, you're building a version of yourself, sometimes for you, but often for them. People you don't know, people you never gave permission to understand you. And yet, they're watching, constructing, calculating. Melissa didn't get hacked because she was reckless. She got hacked because she trusted a system that rewards oversharing and punishes discretion. But we don't have to play that game. We can rewrite the rules by choosing silence over impulse, by guarding the small truths, the ones that seem too minor to matter, until it's too late. Now ask yourself, have you ever shared something online that, in hindsight, felt a little too revealing? Have you ever filled out one of those cute quizzes, only to later realize how much you actually gave away? Drop your story or reflections in the comments below. Not just for you, but for someone else reading who might need that wake-up call. Sometimes, your hard-earned lesson is the one that saves another person from making the same mistake. And if this message hit a little too close to home, don't stop here. There's more you need to know. Click the video on your screen right now. It's filled with real, practical tools that build on everything we've explored here. Because in this world where information is power, the wisest thing you can do is protect what you know and keep the rest to yourself. That's not fear. That's not paranoia. That's stoicism in action. And if you've made it this far, you already know you're not just watching a video, you're waking up. These 5 secrets aren't just random tips. They're your personal firewall in a world that's watching, listening, and waiting for you to slip. You don't need to live in fear, but you do need to live smart, because protecting your life starts with protecting your information. So here's your next move. Hit that subscribe button, stay close, stay aware, because here at Stoic Capsule, we'll keep showing you what others overlook. And if this video opened your eyes, share it. Someone you care about might need it more than you realize. Your safety is your responsibility, but you don't have to face it alone. Let's keep building your defense together.